Hi, everyone, and welcome to Let's Chat MetaPWR. My name is Anna Foley, and I'm here today with Arielle Boscarello. And Arielle is a thriving young woman. I just can't wait to hear your story. I know she was born into oils. She said she came out covered in oils. Was born into a family who were already deeply involved with the essential oils, and you may be familiar with them. But I want this to be about Arielle, and let's hear about her story. She's grateful for the use of oils throughout her life and has found her own love of using them and reaching for them when in times of need, and then has more recently come into teaching and inspiring others about the essential oils. And Arielle, I wanted to ask you, can you take us back to just before you started on MetaPWR and give us a little glimpse into what was life like? How were things for you?
Yeah, so my life has been, I feel like I've lived a million different lives in one, even though I know I'm really young, so it's hard for people to conceptualize. But yeah, so I have something called fibromyalgia, or at least that's what they're calling it. They don't really know, but it's basically like chronic pain, chronic fatigue. So I've been dealing with that for nearly 5 years now. And initially, it was really bad, like debilitating. I couldn't get out of bed. I could barely do anything. I had to leave school, which was really big for me because I loved school. I loved learning, and I was like straight A student. So it was really hard to like let that part of my life go. Eventually, I come now, I know that it's a blessing, but and then it was really hard. Yeah, so that was what my life was like. I was just in bed all the time. Eventually, I found the will to get up and start living my life. I ended up moving over to Queensland to work in the rainforest, up in a like rainforest retreat, which was beautiful, stunning, but I still was in immense pain. Initially, I could barely get through like a 3 hour shift. I was a waitress, which is, it's actually really hard work if you've done it. Like, it's very physical. And yeah, so I struggled to get through my shifts. And luckily, the people that I was with and working with, they were really supportive and they let me like start with smaller shifts, which was great. But yeah, eventually, like I would just keep pushing myself and my strength was growing, but nowhere near enough. There were many days where I couldn't walk. So I was on this beautiful mountain and I couldn't go for hikes and walks like I wanted to. And before all of that, I was a very active person. I loved running. I still love running, but at the moment I can't do it anymore because of my knees. So my joints are really weak. So if I run, it pops my knees out and pops my hips out, which I need them to walk. So I can't do running at the moment. Yeah, so that was what my life was like. And it still is like that. I am doing a lot better now. Like the changes are undescribable. You kind of can't conceptualize it unless you're in that space. I think the only person who could understand who wasn't in it was my mum. She was with me the whole time. She was my biggest supporter. I would not have made it through that time without her. She was incredible. Yeah, so then eventually I was being supported by the oils and like the deeply polyphenols. They help a lot, and copaiba, that's great. I would stay away from medication. I was very cautious of that because with the amount of pain that I was in, it was like I would get addicted to painkillers just because anything that eased it, like you want it. Like it was really intense. But then I found MetaPWR. So mum was like, you've got to get on this, you've got to get on it. And initially I was a little like hesitant because anyone who has chronic pain, chronic fatigue, they know that it's been such a long road. And you're just like, it's another thing. And everyone says that this thing will work and then it doesn't. And it hits you every time. And it's hard. It's very grueling to try to find something that works. Yeah, so even now I still struggle to take it because of that mental block. It's hard to take medication for me. It's a real block. But I find that when I take the MetaPWR, the impacts are incredible. I have so much more energy. Energy is the main thing I notice, and I think that's because I've had chronic pain for so long that it's ingrained in my like cellular memory. It's a part of who I am for now, and that's okay. and it would be a long road to get rid of that. It's already lifting a lot, which is amazing. I'm able to walk. I'm going on a 3-month backpacking trip. Like, I did not think that I would be able to do that. Super happy and super proud of myself. But yeah, MetaPower has been helping a lot, especially with that energy portion. It's incredible. Like, it's hard for me to remember when I don't take it. I'm like, oh yeah, like this is normal. I don't know what it does for me. What do you mean? It doesn't help. And then I take it and immediately I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, I have this newfound vitality. Yeah, it's great now.
Wow, it's fascinating. There's so much to your story that I'm just like, I want to ask so many questions.
Please do.
All right, let's go for it. So, Arielle, you're 19 years old, so you're quite young, and you've been living with chronic pain since an early teen, would you say?
Yeah, so about 14 was when it happened. And I was also, it wasn't just chronic pain, I was also having seizures. They didn't really call that, it was fits, but yeah.
Okay, and yeah, so this
Yeah.
is something that you've lived with for so long. It's testament to your acceptance and understanding that the healing road is a journey, isn't it? I'd love to explore a bit more about what you're saying with the block of taking the MetaPower, that resistance, because you're right. So many people would have said, oh, this is going to work for you, this is going to work. And each time it's not, like you're getting battered down. So,
Mm.
what do you do in those moments where you can recognize that you're not taking it, but you also recognize it's great when you do? What do you do in those times?
It's really hard and it feels so silly to talk about. Saying it out loud, you're like, what do you mean? You know that it's going to help. You can feel the effects when you take it. Just take it. It seems like a very simple step. And to someone who hasn't experienced this, I totally get where you're coming from. Like, my mom, beautiful. And she's like, MetaPower. And I want to. It's just there, yeah, there's this mental block. I've been in this state for so long. And again, anyone who has been here, they'll understand. There's a comfortability in this like perpetual agony that I've been dealing with. And it sounds so weird, but you don't have to have chronic pain to understand this. Like, emotional wise, like people with depression, I've also dealt with depression, and it's just there becomes a comfortability in that grief, and it becomes easy, even though it's extremely uncomfortable. It's sorry, it's hard to put into words, but yeah, there's that comfortability in it, and it feels a little scary that something could change that. And it also, there's that fear that it could change it for the worse, because with trial and error with medication, there's times where it takes it worse. Like, there was this Chinese medication that I was taking, and I was taking like 40 pills a day, and which is insane. And it's really draining on your mental state. Like, I found it really made me feel sick. And I think that's where like that resistance bloomed. I just feel sick when I'm taking things. Like, I wish that I didn't have to take it. So if I don't take it, then I'm all good and I don't need it. Does that make sense?
It's so insightful. And you started by saying it's weird to say it out loud. It's so powerful that you're saying this out loud, because you're being the voice for so many others who would be feeling the same, and helping express it in a way for those who may not understand. So my question then, is it annoying to be reminded all the time to take it? What would you prefer? What would be a way that you would feel supported by someone who's not experienced?
Yeah, great question. I appreciate the reminder. I know where my mom's coming from. It's a very loving place. She wants to see me better. She wants to see me healthy. But at the same time, it's that it makes you feel sick. So you want to do it by yourself and you want to be independent with it. But at the same time, you don't have that independent mentality. For someone who has been bedridden for 3 years of their life, I missed out on my main developmental teenage years, really. There was a big chunk that was missing. And my mom, she really catered to me. She was amazing, and she would make me food and bring it to bed, and it was incredible that she could do that for me. But in doing so, if my independence would slip away bit by bit, which is in those years, that's where your independence really blooms. That's where you want to get away from your parents, and you want to go into the big bad world, and you just think that you can conquer everything. But in that time, I couldn't even get to the bathroom by myself half the time, which is a really intense experience. It's a very like shamed experience that I don't talk about that kind of stuff because it's scary and it's very vulnerable. But I think it's really important to talk about, and for people to know that they're not alone in that kind of environment. Like, there are so many people that they've had to have their parents take care of them. You could be an adult and you have your parents still taking care of you. It's a very intense thing that you have to be there to experience. It's really hard for people to understand.
I think you're so mature in the way that you can see, like you can reflect back on your experience with so much maturity, Arielle, and even to the fact of you saying like you miss those years of your youth and your teens. Would you say it has made you a very mature young adult?
Yeah, I always, at a very young age, I was always called mature for my age. Like at 6, I was being called mature. And initially I thought that I was like, oh, I'm mature. Yay. I get to be one of the adults. And especially in that environment where I was going to like convention and stuff, which I did love that environment. And I felt like I really connected with adults. I found it so hard to connect with kids when I was young. I would look at them and be like, you're a child. I can't really converse with you. And there would be that kind of separation that I know quite a few people experience that. But yeah, as I got older, I wished that I got to just be a kid. And it wasn't to the fault of my parents or anything. It was completely me, like choosing to be more grown up. I think it's how we're born, the wiring that we've got. But yeah, I wish that I got those like immature years where I got to just mess up and have fun and it was fine because I was a kid. But yeah, I feel like I was kind of mature. But yeah, it definitely deepened with that experience for sure. I think I got a real understanding of what pain is, which I think like everyone goes through their thing, their event that it happens, their ordeal. And I think that was one of mine. We'll go through many. I think that was the catalyst for me. And I really understood what it meant to feel just agony. Yeah.
You mean the catalyst in the way of now you're helping others with your teaching on the oils?
Yeah. I mean, there was a big change. So initially it was just to get a little dark with it because it's what it was. It was a really dark time. I didn't want to be alive. Like every breath was just pain. And I was like, I'm 14. This doesn't, there was a real sense of this isn't fair. Like, why should I be dealing with this? I'm young. I should be out. I should be partying. Like, whatever it is, I should be living. And I just wasn't. I was just surviving. I was in this survival mode for years. And eventually it got to this point where I just had to decide whether I wanted to live or not. And yeah, I decided that I wanted this. If these were the cards that I was dealt, this is my lot in life, then I'm going to do something with it. And I am determined to make a difference with it. And this is the first time that I'm talking about it in like a social forum. And one day I would love to do talks on it when I have my thoughts in order a little more. This is the first time that I'm really talking about it with someone else. But yeah, if I always say that if I can help just one person, then it's genuinely all of that pain was worth it for me.
That is so powerful. And I'm hearing you getting tears. So I know that people who do listen will be touched by you, Arielle. Thank you. I'm going to bring it back to the MetaPWR train.
Yes.
So you started on MetaPWR, you were recommended, give it a go. What did you notice?
Yes, initially, like I said, it was a little hard to get into. So I've gone through periods of having it really consistently for a few weeks and then I'd fall off and then I get back on. So it's definitely a process. And I think the important thing is to not feel bad about yourself. It's really hard to make a new habit. But what I did find was easy. If I put it like near something that I would always reach for, then I would remember and I would do it and it would be easy. And I have this little whisk thing and it just made it a bit more fun. I would make it into more of a game for myself to make it a little interactive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a little easier for me to take like that. But yeah, the initial like boost of energy that I got was so incredible. And then I would notice that I wouldn't be getting as much pain during the day. Like I had more energy for longer. Like I just had more stamina. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And was this
Yeah.
from early on, or was this a couple of weeks?
Yeah, this was pretty early on. I think because I was taking a lot of different things as well, all pretty much all of it doTERRA. Yeah, so it was pretty immediate. Initially, I didn't know how to recognize that change. Does that make sense? I would take it and I would feel better, but I was like, what if that's not because of the MetaPWR? I always think that when I have a new medication and if I feel good, I'm like, if I didn't take it, would I still feel good? What if it's just a good day? But I found that as I consistently took it, I was like, okay, it must be this, because when I drop off, I notice that like that drop in energy, and I notice that I feel like the pain comes on quicker. And it depends what I'm doing. Like right now, my body is going through a thing, so it's in pain more frequently, but then it'll ease and I'll be able to move more freely, and there are seasons to it. Yeah.
Yes. And tell us about this travel. You're going traveling tomorrow for 3 months. Backpacking, like from not being able to walk and this intense agony and struggles you've been through to this. It's remarkable.
Yeah, it's incredible. I feel so grateful. Like it's it's so incredible. I love, love, love to travel. It's such a major thing in my life. I love to experience new culture. I love to see the world. Yeah, it feels like the world is so much bigger than just Perth. I'm in Perth, so it's a very small place, and I feel like I just need more. And I did obviously loads of travel with my parents, and it really fostered that love for journeying. Yeah, so I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be doing it solo. Like I've done a few flights by myself, but this is the first like main one. I've got stopover. It's 27 hours, and I'm just really excited.
This is the independence that you craved in those
Yeah,
early.
it
Yeah.
really is. So I'm meeting my cousin, and we're doing Ireland, London, and Scotland together, which is great. I've been wanting to go there like all of my life. It's been a bucket list item. And then I'm meeting up with my mum, and we're doing a month together. We're going to places like Paris, and we're going to Firenze, Florence, which I'm really excited for. The art there is beautiful. I'm a really big art lover. The only reason I'm going back to London is to see the art museum there. I've been to a lot of places like Petra. I've seen like that kind of thing. Which was incredible, but I love art, so I'm definitely going back there. Yeah, and then I'm doing my solo travels, so month with people and then month solo.
Oh, good on you. And it's bringing in the fun and the joy as well. And you'll
Yeah.
take the MetaPWR with you. I guess it's easy to take with you.
Yeah, it is. It's easy to take with me. It's only in like little sachets, and I can also take the beadless top with like blood sugar levels, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And is it something you find yourself talking to people about? Like you must hear a lot of different stories. Yeah. It comes up in conversation.
No, it definitely does. Like when people are like, oh yeah, I've had this, and then I just find myself recommending the things that I know work. That's the thing with MetaPWR. Even though I personally I've had my struggles consistently taking it, I know that it works. I will always recommend it. The effects are incredible, and my mum has had her own journey with it. Amazing. She is going through menopause, and it's a really intense experience. She was having hot flushes for 5 years. She wasn't getting any sleep, and she took MetaPWR. That same night she slept through the night, and it was incredible for her obviously, but my dad and we experienced being around. Of course you're having no sleep, you've got a shorter leash, and she's very graceful with it, but there are times that we all slip, it happens, and we just noticed the change in her immediately. So I think, yeah, your loved ones are really going to notice the difference more than you, because initially you're just going to feel like maybe it's just a good day for me. Like you don't really see it as much as outsiders do.
I love that you've picked up on that. Something I hadn't thought about. It's so true. So true. And did you notice any changes in like your eating habits or for you, your sleeping habits? Was there anything on that level?
Yes, sleeping actually. Yes, I struggle with sleep a lot again because of the pain. I'm a side sleeper, but I find myself having to flip over like a pancake all the time because just things get sore, so you have to just be consistently moving. But yeah, when I take the MetaPower, I find that I tested it out whether I wanted to take it in the morning or the night. And I found when I took it at the night, I did have a deeper sleep, but when I took it in the morning, I had like more of that longevity throughout the day, which is incredible that one product can provide both. But yeah, for me, I found that I prioritized like having the day, like being able to just function throughout the day. So I take it in the morning. But yeah, I think if you struggle with sleep, it would be really beneficial. Take it before bed. It's great. And I'm pretty sure that you don't even have to brush your teeth after. Like you can take it and then you're good to go, which is really, yeah, it's
We
really
love it.
great. It's like you forget to take those things and then you see it and then you're like, oh, but I just
Right.
brushed my, I don't want to do that. So it's amazing product for sure.
Oh, it's so good to hear you talk about it. And what sort of advice do you give to someone who's thinking about using it? Maybe they've been seeing your journey or they're about to start. What would you say to someone in that situation?
Honestly, do it. Just try it. What's the worst that can happen? You get it in an amazing bundle and it's 30 days. So you've got a month's supply. You can test out. And I think just commit to giving it that 30 days. And if you see no change, then great, you will be the first from what I've heard. But if you see no change, then that's great for you. It didn't work. But from what I've heard from all the other testimonies, from my own, even inconsistently taking it, such an like the changes are amazing. I have found that the effects are incredible. Everyone I have talked to loves it. Just try it for yourself. Choose this for you is what I would say.
Beautifully said. And thank you for also being the voice for those who struggle to take it consistently. Be kind to yourself. Yeah.
I think that I see a lot of videos, like your videos and stuff, and everyone, oh, yeah, I've been taking it for a month now. And I'm like, I haven't done that. And it's daunting. You're like, to do something consistently every day, it's actually hard. You need to give yourself credit. It's a hard thing to do. And especially I'm young, I have a flighty mind. I can be very forgetful with things as well. And I think, yeah, it's just the main thing is to be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up over something it's genuinely hard, but once you form that habit, you're going to realize the effects that it has and you're going to actually want to take it. You're going to feel the effects and you're like, oh, my shoulder, I'm feeling a little, let me get my MetaPower. Like you're going to naturally start reaching for it the more that you integrate it into your life. And even if it's sitting there and you forget about it, but then you see it again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it. And it has to be coming from you. Anyone else, it's not gonna have
Yeah.
that powerful effect. Arielle, my last question to you is being a 19-year-old and you're familiar with other young people, would you recommend MetaPower to them for certain reasons? What comes to mind?
Yeah, MetaPower is collagen, which is like great. It has those anti-aging properties, which is amazing. But I think for young people, a lot of us this age, there are a lot of mental health struggle. I don't know. I don't think I know a single person my age that is mentally like they're doing great. That nothing is wrong in their life. Everything is happy and daisies. So what I would recommend is yes, definitely take this. It's great for energy, which is something that I feel like I know I keep saying that, but it's something that our generation is lacking. Like we have no energy, we have no will to do the things that we know we need to do them. Like I have a friend who she knows she like wants to get a job and she wants to make money, but she just has no will to do it, which it's like it's hard to find that. Like I feel like as a generation we're realizing that rat race type of thing is just not for us. We want to create, we want to do all of these things, but we lack the energy and we lack the mental strength to do it. So they go hand in hand. I think MetaPower is great for the energy. And I think you need to, it depends person to person, but you need to be able to work on yourself. You need to take accountability for the fact that you don't actually want to do something. I struggled with that a lot when I was like in bed all the time. I was like, no, circumstance put me here. I couldn't get out of bed if I wanted to, but that's not true. You can. And yes, it's going to hurt, but you can. That's more of an extreme case, of course. It's a physical ailment rather than just a mental block. But you've got to hold yourself accountable. You have to realize that you have played a role in your own suffering, whether it be mental or physical. And yeah, you just got to do it. You got to choose to start living for you. So you now have the tools, which is MetaPWR. You can take it, you cannot, and I think it's in your hands. No one else can do it for you. We're not going to be sitting over their shoulders and being like, take it, it'll be really good for you. It's something that you have to choose for you. But yeah.
Thank you, Arielle. You are a powerful young woman and you've got a story to share, that's for sure. I can see that you are already inspiring people, and there will be so much more to come just from you sharing your story and how you see it can help others. So thank you again for your time. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I am so glad that we got to do this.
Thanks, Arielle.